Hi friends, my name is Megan and welcome to episode 117 of a Naughty Mess Knitting Podcast. Okay, welcome if you're new here to my little corner of the internet. This is where we talk about all things fibery goodness. I knit, I spin yarn, though I've been very slow at that in recent weeks, which is fine. And I crochet, and I have another project that's yarn related that I will share this week because it is finished. My name is Megan and I live in the Pacific Northwest with my husband Mike, our daughter Theo, our dog Winter, and my mom Cindy. And I don't know, I got a very exciting week going on here, so I'm gonna actually hopefully it'll be as short as last week, if not a little bit shorter. I have a shortened film time, and that's, just how life goes. It's a fun, busy week though. We have 2 birthdays in this house, but we'll get into that later. So let's go over a couple of things we're going to cover this week, which will be my finished object, which is what I'm wearing. I have 2 other finished objects, and I have like 2 whips I'm going to talk about, and that's it, because it's been slow going other than finishing stuff, which is fine. I usually like to keep projects in like the queue so that I have things finished. I don't like just finish a ton of things and start a ton of things at once. And right now I'm just decreasing the load, which is fine. I don't think I'm going to just cast out a bunch of other things. So getting it back down to a little bit more manageable is also good. And then we'll talk about books and we'll go our merry ways. I think that might be all for this week. So I hope you grab a nice beverage. I've got chai tea this morning, and I don't know if anyone is a chai drinker, but I have recently discovered there are like sugar-free, we did bagged chai for a long time and then added stuff, but I have found some sugar-free spice blends that just dissolve in water, so that's been pretty great. Right now we're drinking Blue Lotus, and that has been very yummy. And yeah, so that's what I'm drinking. I hope that you grab a nice fun beverage and a project, and that you just hang out with me for an hour. Let's talk about this first, which is my most recent newly finished object of the 3. No, that's not true. Of the 2 knit things. So this is the Fluffball Raglan by Claire Jackson, who is perfectly knotted. This is in testing. It will come out and maybe December, maybe like the first week of December. It is like a super bulky knit. When you get into bulky and super bulky, I think there's a lot of range, but I would call this super bulky probably because the gauge is 12 stitches for 4 inches. So that's not a lot of stitches, which did make this project go pretty quickly. I'm going to stand up so we can see it, and then I'm going to readjust my angle because something's happening with this camera right now, but I want to see my whole body. So or my whole top. So let's look at it. Okay, here we are. It's cute. It's really cute. What do I have to say about it? It's hitting me mid hip, like maybe the fullest part of my hip. I think hers is about this long too. A lot of Claire's tops are a little bit more cropped. I would say like it's supposed to hit, here-ish, like right at the top of your hip. This is a super bulky knit, so extra warm and cozy, right? Maybe would be weird if it was short. I don't know. The raglan is quite close for the size I picked, so we'll go over sizing in a second, but you can see like my armpit is here. The end of my raglan is probably only like a half an inch under, so like it fits nicely there. You can see the raglan line here. This is a compound raglan, so that's why you'll see the little bit of the curve, which is nice instead of just like a straight thing. I did hold 2 yarns together, which we'll talk about in a second also, because I have some yardage. It's a really floofy fluff, so it's a lot of coverage, but yeah, it's nice. What else do I have to say about it? Oh, the neckline I was very concerned about. I did block this part rather aggressively and just like pinned it as far out as I could, and it's sitting where it looks very similar to Claire's pictures and like what I would be comfortable with. I think like there is short rows in this, and typically I would like a little bit more scoop, even with something, maybe because it's so fuzzy, just a little more scoop would have been like my preference. But for the test and also for how quickly I knit it, like it's really fine. Okay, let's look at the back. Looks like a knit thing. Sleeve length is really good. You guys, this is a really basic sweater, so I don't think we'll have tons of conversation about it, but I am pleased with how it came out. Like, I think the fit is nice. It fits me well at my upper bust. It fits me well at my full bust, and it's maybe because the fabric doesn't have tons of drape, like it's sitting in a pretty straight line, and it like doesn't look baggy or oversized or too tight at my hips. So all things I like. I think the shoulders look really nice in this. Probably a little bit because of the size I picked, which was, again, not a lot of ease. Let's sit down and talk about it. Let's talk about sizing. I decided to make a size 5 for this. Claire's, that's a finished, should be a finished bust measurement of 48 inches, full bust. The upper bust, 46.5. Not a huge difference between those because there's not a lot of room. There's not a lot of rows. You can only grow this in a certain way, right? When you just don't have a lot of rows. And it was to fit an actual bust of 40 to 44. So it's recommended to have 4 to 8 inches of ease on this. Claire's definitely has maybe a little bit more, but she's also quite busty. And so when she makes things, I think sometimes she uses like general things, but she doesn't always, like they sometimes fit her a little bit closer, I think. Just like by looking at them, like the compass crew and stuff, they just have such a good fit on her. She's really the inspiration for me to pick slightly closer, because even when I would pick something like 4 inches, I would feel like that's just ended up looking kind of baggy. So I risked sizing down by basing it more on 4 inches of ease at my upper bust. So this is 46.5 inches at the upper bust, and my upper bust measurement is just under 43. So it's 3 inches, still closer than 40. I mean, my bust is usually like something like 46, and so 48 at the full bust. Anyway, all this to say, I picked a smaller size. I talked about it with Claire, like that's how I sent in my application. She knew this. This is not a surprise to her. So, but my final measurements are 47.5. I was a little bit tighter on gauge than my gauge swatch, so I'm like almost to 12.5 stitches per 4 inches in gauge. You lose inches pretty quickly. I did block this, not aggressively, but I did pin it to block it so it would sit further. When I tried this on pre-blocking, it felt quite close, and not uncomfortably so, but like a little bit more than I wanted it to be. I wanted the like, and also it was done right when I tried it on. I was like, I really do want the like under bust to be not fitted, right? So I stretched it and I blocked it that way. I think it will stay that way. This had room to grow, so that was fine. The sleeve length, I put it at 17, but like this is a really good sleeve length on me. It's just past my, the end of my wrist. So I put 17 inches. My underarm to hem length was 13. Total body is 23. So my raglan depth is only 10 inches, which for a size 5 is not shallow, but it is a little bit more fitted. So like a lot of raglans, you're like, oh yeah, 11 inches makes sense, but then it ends up being quite baggy. So the bicep is 14.5. That's one that I just stretched it. So like when I blocked my arms, I laid them approximately 18 inches of where I wanted, and then I just stretched at least the upper arm hole like until the elbow. So like, 6 inches of it. Like I really pulled it apart a little bit. I didn't pin it, so I just let it lay then. And that's perfect because it felt tight on my arm, and as it is right now, it feels like zero ease, but it feels comfortable, like feels fine. And I do have larger upper arms, so I often have to adjust for that. And then the cuff was 7 inches. So, and that's unstretched. That's about I would say it's probably closer to like 8 once it's warm and on you, but yeah. So that's where we are. I used around 760 yards for both yarns, though I think it ended up being slightly less yardage in my petite wool, slightly more in the Fluffball, which or slightly more in the Lodge, which is not really surprising. I've showed you this before, but this does have quite a lot of fluff coverage. This is like a fingering weight fluff. So it's 420 something yards for 100 grams from Sorella. I don't know if she carries this all the time. This is, I got from D-Stash, so it could be pretty old, uncertain here, but it is quite fluffy. I would say more than regular Surrey coverage, and it's a 100% alpaca. That's what the yarn thread is also. Yeah, I would say it's more fluffy than Surrey, maybe by a little bit. Like, it's just quite hairy, but having that thicker like yarn it's attached to does make the color, I think, even stand out more. So just to note while you're making this, Claire made this with 2 strands of DK fluff together, and hers is quite beautiful. There's a lot of options. I don't know if I have enough, I have a lot of Rasta. I don't have enough Rasta to make this by itself, but I could try. I could make one for Theo in super bulky, though I would never do that right now because she just is like 1,000 degrees all the time. She still tries to take her clothes off all the time in the house, even though it's getting to be winter, but you know, that's baby for you. Anyway, so here we are. I like it. It is really warm. This is the first time I'm wearing it. There are days where I think it's cold enough here, and even just like in my house, I'm like, it's cold sometimes, that I think I'll put this on. I don't think it's like going to be something that just languishes in my closet. I don't know that I'll grab it a ton. I think there's shorter months in which I'll probably grab it, but it is super cozy. It's next to Skin Soft for me, though I am wearing like a higher tank top just because I didn't want to be itchy on the podcast in case it was a little itchy. Sometimes heavy furry things, like if I get warm in my chest, is where it gets uncomfortable. But yeah, no, I'm really liking it. And it's like this, it's like similar color marl, so it's giving me like just like a monochromy kind of look. But yeah, I really enjoy it. The knit was fine. It was really fast. So I guess quick ratings are pattern. For me, most of Claire's patterns are like, I would at least suggest them, even if I don't think I need 2 of these in my closet. This one I'd consider just to like use up some of this older bulky yarn that I don't need. Though I would totally make it for somebody else too. Like even if I don't think I need another one in my closet, I would make this for someone else. Because it went super fast. This would be a great gift sweater if you have the super bulky yarn, or combos of yarn you can make super bulky that you don't, you know, won't feel like sad that you got rid of a bunch of fingering weight yarn or something. I have enough like other petite wool that I could make this in like a fun stripey situation. If I had like a single Surrey or 2 strands of Surrey to use with this, I don't know I'm going to, but it would go really quickly is all I'm saying. Like if I wanted to get that out of my stash, I would totally make one of these because it went fast. It felt fun. Yeah. And I think the fit is really nice. So I'm going to give it a plus for that. I know I talk about this all the time, but in case you are not aware, you're new to the podcast, Claire's patterns are written in a very specific manner, which some people don't like, and I find them quite enjoyable. So she does a lot of sizes. I want to say most of them have 11 plus sizes. This one has 11. She's always got size inclusive patterns, at least like anything in the last like 4 years or 5 years, but she's got like a particular style where she does, because 11 sizes is a lot, and there are a lot of patterns that are 10, right? Like that's a pretty common number for size inclusive patterns to have 10 sizes. But you know, people just write the numbers out, and then you're like, okay, I gotta circle these numbers out, so I gotta make sure I just didn't look at the wrong one, whatever. She does, her whole pattern is fill in the blank. And so just the places where you have numbers, there's just a small line for the blank, and then there's a chart underneath of it, a section or 2 sections that give you all the numbers for all the sizes. So you just have to fill it in. I don't think that's more work to knit the pattern than it is to go through all of those and make sure you circle the exact same number throughout a pattern, which is what I do on my like iPad. if you're printing it, really kind of the same, except for it would take a lot of printer paper because they're long patterns. She also provides a lot of resources for things like bust darts and choosing your size, and like for the scorned, there's like some color management type things. So I really like that. I think they're pretty much always beginner or adventurous, beginner friendly, which is also nice, but they're also like, you don't have to read all the extra stuff, right? Like you can read the small parts of the pattern that are pertain to you and get, you know, not feel overwhelmed by maybe the rest of it. Anyway, I like it. I like slightly more bare bones patterns generally, but that's more if it's like just like a wall of text. This doesn't feel like a wall of text because of the way she writes them. So again, to each their own, but I enjoy it. And then the yarn, I mean, this is petite wool I've had for a long time and stash, so I actually don't know that I've used it in a garment before, so I was concerned, but I think this will wear fine because of the fluff. Like, yeah, sure, the fluff might pill a little bit, but there's so much coverage, I don't think that I'm at risk with this single ply bulky to disintegrate while I'm wearing it. And it's quite warm, so I don't know, TBD on the yarn choice. I think it's fine. It fits the bill for this Fluffball Raglan name. And I don't buy from We Are Knitters anymore or Wool and the Gang. I prefer to support you know, indie dyers, but this is stuff I've had in stash for like many years, and bought in the beginning of my garment thing. And I did make a couple like the wool things. I made like at least one other sweater besides the one that is my sweet shop jacket thing, which I don't know that I'll ever wear, but it's in there. Maybe I'll just save it for when Theo's old enough to wear it. Okay, let's go to our next finished object, which is actually the first one I finished this week, which is my Flax DK, totally very modified knit for my daughter. She turned 3 yesterday. It was a very fun and exciting day here in the house. I'll tell you all about it, but here is her modified sweater. I did make the 4 to 6 size. She just turned 3. She does typically wear 4T, sometimes even a 5T for stuff. So I was not trying to make her the 2 to 4 size because she'd probably hulk out of it. This does have some ease in it built into it anyway, and this is a 26-inch bust. So she's probably like 21 inches around around her like upper chest area. She's got a baby tummy still, so up there I think this probably got a good 5 inches of ease, and down by her tummy not as much. It depends on the time of day, etc. But I used 4mm needles to knit everything but the cuffs and neckband, and I used a 3.5 for that. This is a Madelinetosh DK twist, one of a kind merino pink yarn that actually I inherited from Katie from maybe January's yarn exchange this past year, or maybe like October last year. Anyway, I got this very fun pink color, and she had like 2.5 skeins. I think I have to weigh this still, but I used all of it, like every last bit of the pink yarn. And then I used and so I'll put what it is in Ravelry. And also, like, this is a little, you know, you're not gonna remember this when I tell you it on the podcast anyway, but yeah, this one is like heavily modified. So you should read through the mods if you like the idea of this. I did not just use the flax pattern and get this. Okay, let's talk about the mods now. So first mod is that I didn't do a knit front and back. Now that may be, that made my life a little bit more difficult, but I did fix this. I don't know if you can see that. So the raglan only had increases to like here, and then the last like 12 rows did not have increases, and I just knit them flat and it looked weird. It was giving me like a corner here, and like when it's on probably would have been more fine-ish, but I felt a little annoyed by it. So I put this on hold for like, I don't know, several days. And then I just picked it back up and I ripped out just that one stitch, and I did a to mimic closer to this raglan line, I did a knit one, slip one. And so I just absorbed and like picked through back and like just moved the yarn out for the skipped row to give a similar look. It's not exactly the same, but I think it like makes the line appear as if it's continuing, which is what I wanted. And then, so that's mod 1. And I just did a traditional raglan line. Like I did a make one, gosh, what do you do? A make one right, a make one left. So both of these are diverging from the raglan line. I would call that more traditional for increases. There are patterns that write them the other way. I mean, you just get a different look. There's lots of ways to do a raglan. There's really no right or wrong. You just get a different design choice here. So then there are some short rows underneath of the raglan, which I thought was kind of interesting rather than at the top of the shoulder. It's underneath. For her size, I think that'll be a good choice because she is kind of square. She does not have like a lot of neck muscles and she's got good posture. And then I did full length sleeves. Oh, I omitted, as you can see here, it's just flat stockinette. So I omitted that traditional flax line of like the garter bumps or whatever is happening there, purl bumps. And then I knit the body to where it's adjusted for full body. That is a little bit long on her, which is fine. So it sits closer to like her full hips or a little bit further. And then it said do trim. So that was only modded the top part. And then instead of trim, I did a peplum. So I did one round. I talked about this last week too. Of just make one front and back, or knit one front and back. And that created this nice little skirt. I think the fullness of the skirt is really cute now that it's off the needles. And then I didn't have a lot of yarn last week. And so I had like maybe this much done. And so I only really got to double that. And I was like debating about doing a folded hem and doing all these other things. I asked the birthday girl, I said, hey, because she had seen this one, me working on it. And I asked her if she wanted a black bottom or if she wanted it to be all pink. And she's like, black. And she does love black. It's like her, I don't know. Right now she's telling me red is her favorite color, but who knows? Sometimes it's her favorite color, and she's a girl who likes to be that kind of moody. Anyway, so I did a crochet border. So I just bound off knit-wise with a crochet hook, one size up of what I ended up using for the pattern to, I think I used a 5mm to bind off, and then a 4.5 to do the whatever this edge shell stitch or whatever edge. And all I did was you start with a single crochet into a stitch, and then you skip 2 and you do 5 double crochets into one stitch, and then you skip 2, do a single crochet, skip 2, 5 in one stitch, right? So that's how you get this kind of like bump. It's hard to tell because it's black, but yeah, that's how you get this like the scalloped edge. So let me hold it up again. Here we have a cutie little skirt with a little black edge. It is, you know, quite low on her. It's going to be more like just like a little peplum once she grows into wearing it more, and that's great. I'm hoping we get like 2 full years out of this one. Not that I'm not going to make other things in that time, but this was yarn that as soon as it came out in the yarn swap, I was like, I want this for Theo, and I wanted to use all the yarn, and so this was the perfect time and size to use it. Let's see if I have a rating for that pattern. It was fine. I didn't obviously use the pattern very closely, so I'm not gonna, I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I would be interested to use it more traditionally. I don't like the look of that shoulder detail. Like it just, I don't find it to be very cute. So like, I don't think I'd ever make a traditional flax. I do get why people make them. I did use the app. Somebody did tell me that you have to just use the arrow down. Once I did that, I was like, oh, duh, this is very stupid. But in my mind, you just like, it doesn't tell you anywhere like next step and the arrow down. I just was like scrolling and I was like, wow, this doesn't keep where your place is. But if you use the arrow down, it does. It's actually a pretty cool thing. Anyway, they have an app. This is a free pattern. It's cool to do on the app. I don't really have anything else to share about it. Good. This yarn was great. It's one of a kind. I don't know that I've ever bought Madelinetosh myself, but I have gotten it from D-Stash a couple times. But great, fine experience using the Twist DK, which is the first time I've used that base. So it feels much like any other DK wool type yarn. I feel like there's kind of a lot of variation in the skeins. Like there's quite a lot of like light spots and then a lot of dark, and then like the bottom of the skirt was really light, and then the skein I joined had like a lot more orange. Like one of the sleeves is more orange than the other. I don't care. She's not going to care, but I would say if you're going for evenness, maybe even with these one of a kinds that looked really similar in skein, I was like, just you should helically knit them and you'll probably get something a little more even, but like I was not going to do that. Not for this one. But anyway, it did not take me very long to make and I enjoyed it. So thumbs up. Let's go on to my last yarn object of the week. This is a finished object and I do want to talk about it here because I want to share with you the final product, but this is not a knit. So, or a crochet project. This is a yarn embroidered house. Are you ready? I don't think you're ready. It's so cute. Okay, here it is. It's so cute. I'm going to do a B-roll footage here where I'm just showing it outside so you can kind of see it like in the sunlight and whatever. But let's talk about this really quick. This is a pattern that came out from, gosh, I think her name is Caitlin at Feral Notions. Okay. She called this the house purse pattern. So, and it's free. You did have to sign up for the cowl. I don't know that she'll like just post the free pattern on her blog. I'm not really sure what she's doing with it. She's got stitch videos. She had some sew down videos, nothing that was like super complicated or whatever, but it was really cool that she put that all together. So she made one of these because this is like an old thing. Like this is not a new concept. Like it was the 70s or 80s. I don't even know when, thing that people would make these all different kinds of house purses. And this is a hard plastic canvas, sheet, which they come like this. They're called like, there are different sizes, and this one is 7, I think, which makes me think there's like 7 in an inch, 7 squares or 7 rows in an inch. I don't know. So this kind of mesh stuff. It's semi-rigid. The other thing I've used this for actually is like, I crocheted a couple of baskets a few years ago, and they were tall that you folded down over top of one of these, so they sat up rigidly, which was cool. Anyway, side note. This though, you just embroider over them to size. She does suggest you use worsted weight yarn. I used pretty much all acrylic, although I think this green might have been wool. This might be wool. Felt much more like wool and was kind of felting during when I would do too long of a strand. Anyway, in like a nice way. That's the grass. It's so cute. I did just really follow pattern. The only thing I diverged from pattern is that she had a potted plant, and this was just because I needed it to be done. I did not do anything in this window, which is fine. But this one, she said she had a potted plant and I did a cactus. There is not a lot of contrast there, but whatever. That's a cactus because Theo loves cactuses. Mike was like, why didn't you put winter in the window? And I was like, because that would have been so much work. And I didn't want to. So she's got kitty cats. Also, she doesn't have a cat, so now she has cats in the house. And then I went through this week and did the finishing details. So this like window pane detail on all of the windows have it. And then the flowers and like the door got like the little hinge and door handle. And the flowers are just, what's that called? A French knot. And then I added like longer grass strands with, actually this is wool and this is fingering weight yarn. I have it in 2 green colors, just 2 random green colors. Then this opens as you saw in the video, and it's got a little pocket inside my mom made. So my mom made this inside. What I did, I finished last weekend, maybe on Friday night. I think on Friday night, I finished all of the base layer. Oh, and like this is little trellis. It has like climbing roses. I did yellow roses for that part. Anyway, I gave my mom all the pieces and I told her what was going to happen. And she sewed me a full lining. And the way that Caitlin had done this originally was that this whole piece was just a single sewn on piece, and then you would be able to like see a gap through here. My mom just made it one single piece that I sewed down. So when I got it, I was like, okay, how am I gonna do this? Also, I think it was supposed to open like on the front side of the house, but I was just sewing it down, doing other things the other night and kind of rushing, and I just did it this way. And you know what? It's fine. It's not a big deal. What side it opens on. I think it actually makes the front like lay like nicer, but whatever. So, oh yeah, sorry. Also, I sewed it together using like this for like the beam color, and then at the top, so it just matches like the thatch. So at first, like I was talking to my mom about this. So I was like, do I need to tack the corners down? I like laid it in and I was like, it kind of looks bunchy. So I did everything, but the top one was not connected when I like laid it in originally. And then I was like, you know what? I started with this first line and I was like, I have to sew these corners down. If I don't sew down the corners, like Theo's going to be messing with this thing and trying to pull it and trying to like see if she could put other things in there. Anyway, so I just did a line down. You can't really see it. I used black embroidery thread, and it's just sitting on the like alongside one of the sides every like third or fourth row. So I sewed it down the four sides, not across the bottom. Yeah, not across the bottom, just the four sides, and then across the top. And I did these sides and here. And then again, this was not connected yet. So then I whip stitched that together and whip stitch with yarn over top, did the hole around the outside, and then sewed down and like did like a nice folded edge and just did, you can even see it. You can see the little stitches. It's not a lot of stitches. I just did kind of like a running stitch down. And it's so cute. And you do the handle, like you sew the handle to whatever side is not your lifted side. I really like it. I think it's so stinking cute. She was really excited to get this. She kept putting things in it yesterday, some of her new birthday toys too, and it was very cute. Hopefully it lasts through time, and if she doesn't end up keeping it and using it, I'm gonna definitely like display it somewhere because it's very cute. But I want her to play with it. I made it for her to play with it, not to display. There were some really cute versions. She has a Discord channel, and hopefully people will be posting these pictures, but there's some really cute versions where people did like bricks instead. They did just fully different colors. They did like really fun doors. Someone put a chimney in the back instead of the trellis. Like there was a lot of very cute decisions. That was too much thinking for me. Actually, I think if I had done one thing, I would have put a chimney on this side, but then it would have been weird if there was no chimney. And I was like, again, I don't have the mental capacity to go. I don't also really, really love embroidery. So I was like, I just want the product. So I'm going to just make it closest to the picture. And I'm glad I did. I love it. And more importantly, Theo loves it. And I think A+ for that. I don't know. I don't have anything else to share. That's mostly scrap acrylic, so I'm not gonna talk about the yarn. But it was fun to do. Actually, I did think the finishing was gonna be like much harder than it was. The trellis is the thing that took the most time. I mean, it all took more time than I thought because it's just like back stitching on cross stitch. It just takes forever, but worth it for the end product. Okay, I don't have lots more to share, so I've got 2 quick project updates, and these are really small project updates, but I didn't want to give you none. I will say I did not recast on my mom's socks. I got them out, I started doing it yesterday, and I just didn't have time, I didn't want to, and that's okay. I've got the book snake, obviously, we'll talk about that, but I will show you my Elton because this, I feel like, has been hibernating for a while, and I want you to remember how beautiful these colors are. So here's where we are now. The last time you saw it was at the Sheepy. I do have like eight stripes of color happening here. So, I mean, not a ton, but like a good amount of stripage has happened. It's crazy because on camera, it does really truly look like one color is being used, and it is. One color, 2 yarns, but there's a mohair base here, and in person the value of the yarn looks quite different, so it does look like a lot lighter and more see-through just like looking at it. So I mean, whatever, right? This is the camera, you just have to believe me. But yeah, you can see the mohair there. I'm really loving it. I think this is really fun. And so I will continue. This is by Joji Locatelli. This is due at the Knit Along ends next month. And so I would like to finish it by then. I have faith in myself. I think I'll be able to do it. I did want to pick up the collar this weekend again. There's not a lot of time. I finished this on Sunday. I finished this on Saturday, and this actually is what took the most time this week. And I knew that not doing the finishings like earlier, sewing it together, like it was just going to take time. It wasn't particularly hard. I didn't finish this until Tuesday night. And plus we had to like wrap presents. And then I just didn't have that much. A very busy first 2 days of the week at work. And then I took off the rest of this week. And yeah, I am. And this weekend we were just like doing things. We had a baby shower. We had other stuff. So I wasn't doing a lot of knitting. Anyway, the Elton has been my thoughtless knit right now. And that's been very good. I am making a size 4, which is a 56-inch bust. I made that as a sample set, that size as a sample for La Mercerie 2 years ago or a year and a half ago for flock. I'm using 3.5 millimeters for the body. And that is Lamb Good Fiber in the colorway. We've got to have a flock of this, or I've got to have a flock of this in classic fingering and mohair. And I'm excited to have it done. So I would like to put some good work into that this week. Yeah, I don't know that it'll be the only thing I work on, but like it'll be something that gets a little more attention, I think. The other thing, and I did not cast on my cow cardigan. That is going to be probably the next thing I cast on. I think I've decided though for the next tee, so one of these two things will get cast on first, the flare tee. And I'm only going to do that because the marigold tee is knit flat because it's knit sideways. And I just don't have the capacity to knit 3 cardigans plus a flat t-shirt. It's not going to happen. I cannot. So maybe in the new year, I'll do that one. I definitely am going to do that one before this coming spring. That's definitely on my agenda. But, and maybe I'll put that on my make night for next year, and that will encourage me to actually get it done. But could not be convinced to do that right now. So it'll be, yeah, the bright blue knit and then a cow cardigan. And here's my Oversized Seasons cardigan, which is a half fisherman's rib knit. There's 2 things I want to show you this week. One, I did pick up a sleeve. I am not gonna, this will be fine. I do think that my gauge, you can even kind of see it like right there, this line. The gauge in my sleeve is definitely a little bit bigger. I did join a new ball of yarn. It could just be that that is slightly fluffier from wherever I got from Cakes. It's also probably because I'm just doing a traditional purl, which I don't love to do, but my pin is too tight tension-wise for the, and maybe just like too far tension-wise for the unspun. Like that's too far for me just to be just holding it in my hands. It's just too far. So it broke when I like tried to do it last night twice, and I was like, yes, I think I just have to do a regular purl, which I don't love to do, and is looser for me. That's why I row out. So whatever, it is what it is. And I think that as long as the whole sleeve is consistently just a little bit wider, like I'm not gonna care. So here we are. Sleeve started, just for you to see. It's not like tragically so, but like look at that. You can see it on the side. Right there, where it becomes like floopier. Again, it's gonna be at my sleeve, like, you know, it's gonna sit like start right here, so like maybe you won't notice. I'm gonna go with that, and I need to make up another ball because this is all I have left. So that's balled up, so I need to get the other sleeve ready. I don't know that I'll go from sleeve to sleeve. Like probably I'll do 3/4 of this, and then maybe I will go sleeve to sleeve. And I probably won't go back to the body right now, because what I did decide is, I think the other thing I decided was I put in the first button. I don't know if I did that last time and I just didn't talk about it, but here is the first buttonhole. It is a like cast off buttonhole. So you cast off and then you just make two, which is fine, right? Like that was not hard to do, whatever, looks okay. The thing about that is I tried it on after I did the first buttonhole. So I had a little bit, you know, under bust done, and I was like, I don't, and I like measured to where I thought I'd want it to sit. And the pattern, and I did this because also my row gauge is quite off. So it is sitting a little bit deeper, like I think the Raglan is. I did pick a smaller size though. So I'm just, anyway, all of this to say, I'm a little bit concerned that she's like 14 inches of body, and it is quite long on her, and Haley is quite small. So this is patterned by Ozetta, who's Haley Smedley. Sorry, I didn't say that before, but I don't think I want it to be that long. Like, yes, it's an oversized thing, whatever. I still think I want it to hit about where this is, about mid-hip. So that was like 14 inches from the Raglan, I think is what she wrote in, and that's where she put the button band math, like, or put the buttonhole math, like, you know, how many inches between. I think I'm just gonna exclude the last button, or the middle button, I guess, the third button, and then put maybe the last one in the ribbing or just above, because that's where her last one is. I was like, you know, I also can't think about this right now, so I'm gonna just do the sleeves and then we'll come back to this. So that's where we are right now. I'll let you know. That's a slow grower. It's not gonna ever become a fast grower, so I'm just gonna keep trucking along in pace with that. Still have on my needles the crosshatch hacked and the Mila cardigan, and then my mom's socks will get recast on. I didn't touch the Mila at all this week, or the crosshatch, and they're just sitting upstairs because, you know, that is what it is. So, and which is fine. Okay, the last thing I have to talk about then this week is the book snake. So, and then, you know, life. So here we have, for anyone who doesn't know what this is, I shall show you. Let me see, it's also just like trapped under things. I need like a better bag. This is not in a bag right now. This is just laying in my office on the floor. Okay. This is my book snake. It is over 15 feet now. I mean, I think we're probably close to 16 feet. I will do a measurement, I don't know, next week maybe. But this is a tracker for all the books I've read this year. So every book gets a color, and the color is based on something from the cover. So something in the cover art could be the main back color, it could be something else. For example, we have one of those this week, this something else. I did finally break into my white, second ball of white yarn. This is Hobby, the brand, Hobie, I don't know, Hobby. Anyway, the like Danish brand. It's their like unicorn fingering I got a couple years ago, and it's just a superwash white yarn. And so I wanted something that was in stash that I could just use as the base background color. So let's go first to the book that I finished. Oh, and this pattern is by Hanley. Just put that out there. Okay, this first one is Triple Duty Bodyguard. Let's look at this cover. This is one of the ones where I just picked something from it because I could not find that perfect orange. I don't really have a lot of orange in my stash, and I didn't have that color to go in the background. Plus, a lot of this that they talk about in this book, that she loves pink. Pink is her favorite color, which is why she's wearing it in the cover, and also why I decided to make it my primary color. And it's like specifically like Barbie pink that we talked about. So this one is a book by Lily Gold. Lily Gold, I've never read anything else from Lily Gold other than, I mean, maybe these are her only books, but she basically writes Why Choose books. So it's always, the formula is one girl, three guys, and they're never boyfriends. They're usually just like somehow best friends that have decided this is how they must have a relationship. I was in a Why Choose kick, so this was also one that ended up on my Kindle library, and I've read all her other ones, so I think this was just like the one I hadn't read. I don't know if this is the newest one or it's just I hadn't gotten to it. They're like, yeah, there's like a roommates one, there's one where she's a girls in Sweden. Anyway, this one is about, actually this one was like not, maybe a little bit heavier for sure. Anyway, the tragic story is just that there's like a child star who becomes like a starlet, like, so she's like but she's just been in the public eye for her whole life and has not had a great support system behind her. Okay, that's one. The guys are ex SAS, which is like special ops for England. This is in England. And they have a lot of PTSD, like collectively. One of them worse than others for sure. But they work in security, like personal security, like bodyguards, obviously. And she is totally violated, has a stalker who like breaks into her house. And so then she needs bodyguards. And it's always like kind of a Lily Gold thing. Like this one, they sort of do talk about the sharing early, but it's just like such a random thing where they're like, well, I just like all of them. And I was like, I feel like you would pick, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Never had many boyfriends at the same time. So what do I know? It's the, you know, fiction of it all. So here we go. But I do enjoy these books. They're pretty fun. They're spicy for sure. But like this one had a lot of plot and like kind of some scary plot. Like it was, the stalker thing is real in this book. So just that's a warning for you. Definitely trigger warnings in this one, but like otherwise I thought it was pretty fun. Okay. It's not my favorite of the Lily Gold books though. But it was good. I hadn't read one in several years, and so that was like kind of fun. So the next book that I have here is the third of the Bonds That Tie book from Bree called Blood Bonds. And I went for this like bluey, like basically the background colors on this has like a little bit of this like I don't even know, like purpley bluey periwinkle like gray color, and then a darker blue. And this one was good. The bonds have finally figured out the last one why she was, I think pretty much the whole story of why she stayed away from them after her parents' accident, and then which is like the thing that made them mad at her. Anyway, this is a universe where there is also why choose a central bond, other bonds, and like a rebellion. And her other bonds, there's like she's the pivotal, it's usually the most powerful one, and she's the central person, and bonds are a pretty sacred thing in this society, and she ran away from hers. So that's like the whole of the story. So, you know, more actual bonding is happening now. It's good. I really like this series. Like, I'm not going to tell you, it's not like classically great literature, but like it's pretty fun. There's a lot of like highs and lows, both in her relationships and in like the action that's happening. But I feel like the action that's happening in the rebellion is moving pretty quickly. So it's not like just dragging out like tons of war room conversations and then like one big thing. It's like guerrilla warfare here. Like they keep like stealing people, and then they have to go pick them out of like these camps. And so that kind of maybe feels a little bit repetitive because they keep doing this, but it's also like different important people, and they are moving forward. They're trying to get more people safe. They're trying to make some decisions that are smart for the society. Anyway, I'm liking it. I'm going to finish the series. I think there's only 5 of them, and it's a completed series. So that's great. I'm on the wait list for the next one. The next book is called Chasing the Wild. It's a Crimson Ridge book 1. I don't know when this was published, 2024. So I don't know if there's another Crimson Ridge out there. The author's name is Elliott Rose. This came on my list because this is the only Elliott Rose I could find from the library, I think. And 2 of my favorite book, maybe they might be on Book Talk, but I see their stuff on Instagram. Like tell you about books they read. They're very funny. They're definitely my favorite people. They're so funny. But they put out like a list of their favorite like book boyfriends, and one of the people from one of her books came up, and I was like, oh, I want to read that, but it wasn't available from the library. So I just picked another Elliott Rose one. This was good. I didn't know this was going to be a thing, but it's like a little, I'm not into, especially because she is a lot younger. Like that's the whole thing. There's like, this is an age gap thing. I'm not into the daddy thing. I think that it like just totally disturbing to me. So, and as a person who has like definitely some daddy issues, I don't find that appealing. So like, I don't know, that's just me. But yeah, anyway, I picked kind of like backgroundy colors for this one. This one is like forced proximity, yeah, age gap, forbidden romance, the whole thing. I really did like the characters though. Like that small part is a little off-putting to me just in the romance, but this is about like a vet student who starts, that's like going to be a weird way for, once you pick it up, you're like, how is this going to happen? Anyway, it's about a vet student who goes and works in a remote location during the winter where they get kind of stuck on the mountain, in Montana, question mark? I think it's Montana. And the rancher happens to be her ex-boyfriend's dad. And yeah, that's it. That's all I'm going to tell you. It was fun forbidden romance. The last one is, I think this was a recommendation from a viewer. I'm like 95% sure. This book is called Mystery Man by Kristen Ashley, and the series is called Dream Man, and this is the first book. I did actually put myself on for the second book because I found this series to be very fun. I mean, it's a little older. This was published in 2011, and there's pieces of it there I was like, okay, that feels a little bit older. Oh my gosh, at one point they're talking about flip phones, and I was like, this is the best. She was just like, it's like how she answered, like just the description of answering the phone was like, I flipped my phone. I was like, okay, I love it so much. This is great. Take me back. Okay, but I was thinking about this morning. Okay, so I just picked like what felt to me like the essence of the back color. It's both darker and lighter than this, and so anyway, this is what I chose. Okay, I've got to tell you, I really enjoyed this book because of what I thought it is in my mind. In my mind, this is really 100% a fan fiction of Stephanie Plum's books by Janet Ivanovich. Okay. I want someone, if you've read the Janet Ivanovich series, Stephanie Plum, and if you've still read them, or if you've at least read like to book 10, let's say, and you're Team Ranger, I need you to read this book. That's my plug for it. Okay, here's like a really the premise, and this is what you learn about this in the very beginning. Okay, this is called Mystery Man because this girl is sleeping with the guy, and at first I thought she'd never seen him in light of day, and I was like, like what is happening? But no, she had a one-night stand with him, and then he kept coming back, but only comes back at night, and he like gets into her house without a key, that kind of thing. She doesn't know anything about him. And then her sister gets in trouble with bad people and the law, and bad things start happening to her because of this. They like want to smoke out the sister or, whatever. And he starts spending time with her during the day. And so this is why I think this is a fan fiction. I really want someone to read this and corroborate this feeling with me. So if you've read any of the Stephanie Plum books by Janet Ivanovich, they're like, One for the Money is the first one, which was a very bad movie with Katherine Heigl. I don't recommend watching it. I actually think the series, here's the thing. I don't think anybody would pick up this series again for like a show, even though it'd be pretty funny, because Stephanie never grows. So this is why, I've read all of them. I read like, maybe there was one this year that I didn't read that came out this year's one every year, but she's like dumb human, has a cop boyfriend, and there's this guy named Ranger who runs a security firm who she first taught her about being a bounty hunter. That's what she does. Like she's like a bail bonds person. But he's got this whole like mysterious past. He's Cuban. He like sneaks in and out of her room, and she has all these locks, and still he somehow gets himself in. He puts surveillance on her to keep her safe. He's got this like merry band of men who help keep her safe, drive her places. He gives her cars, all these other things. This guy goes by Hawk, but he is like the same, but only a better version honestly, well, I really love Ranger actually, but he's like got a tragic past that you actually learn about. He opens up to her emotionally, but he's got like a lair. He's got all the gadgets. He's got like a building where he works nondescript downtown where like his security firm is. He is ex-military, like just so many similarities, which I guess is not uncommon for like a story, but she gets firebombed. She also has like a thing with there's a moment like in the beginning which is like there's all these men that pop up in her life. One of them is also a cop who comes from the first thing that happens that's bad. And right, Stephanie Plum has a cop boyfriend, plus there's this motorcycle gang that's involved in this with that's from her sister. And there's a guy who's like the leader of the motorcycle gang. And in the Stephanie Plum books, there's also this like mysterious guy that pops up sometimes, which not a motorcycle gang person, but his name is Diesel. Anyway, this is why I think this is a fan fiction condensed down to one book to give her a better arc. This girl has a real job. She takes her career seriously. She has some personal growth. She realizes she's wrong. She apologizes. That's definitely rewriting a better Stephanie Plum. And then also she's got real friends. This is a thing that I've always felt was weird from Stephanie Plum. The only friend she has is like somebody she picks up, two people she picked up during her job. And that's it. She doesn't talk to anybody else ever. You're like, what is happening? This girl has like some real friends. There's like not a real Lula character, but there is a like person that works in Hawk's office who could fill that role kind of, except for like not the whole backstory thing. Anyway, that was a lot of talk about this, but I thought it was fun. It's a little bit like wild. It's pretty long and there is like a lot, but it's a complete of a kind of a long arc of them like getting together, but also she has to make a choice several times. Her sister's like really messing up her life. That happens more than one time. So there's like escalating levels of scary for the main girl, which I thought like was actually kind of appropriate in what the story is. So I had a fun time reading it. For the person that suggested it to me, thank you very much. That was very fun. And I will read the rest of the series probably, as long as this next book goes well. But yeah, very like fun alpha male. Protective. She was kind of an idiot during some of this, I will say. But I was like, this is a Stephanie Plum retelling. And Stephanie Plum is a real idiot. And this girl at least has some redeeming characteristics. And also this is all new and condensed. Like she's not been followed for years that she knows about or whatever, or helped out for years. So she like makes some decisions where you're just like, why did you do that? But also, I get why you did that. As opposed to Stephanie Plum, who's been in this like on again, off again thing for like a decade and has never grown even an iota. Okay. That's all for books. That's also all for the things. I've got to get going, but really quickly, it was Theo's birthday yesterday, so that was very fun. I made cupcakes for her class. She did go to preschool because it's preschool. I'm going to keep her in her routine. And then we went to a new park that is in Shoreline, which is where I live, north of Seattle, in the, it's called like Richmond Highlands Park. It's like on the west side of Shoreline. It was very cool. It's like a brand new park. It has like a slide bowl with like 3 slides that go down and ways for kids to climb up the hill, and a really cool climbing thing and some cool swings and stuff. So that was fun that we did with her. And then and I got Theo, she really wanted a donut. That was like her special thing she wanted. I got her cupcakes for her class, but like I made cupcakes for her class. I made them, but I got her a donut because I'm not gonna make donuts. But and she wanted a sprinkle donut. That was her wish. And I got her a balloon because I don't remember if I told you guys this, but like I got her a balloon randomly from Michael's. It was just like in the checkout, they gave her one. And this balloon kept her so entertained for like a whole day. And I was hoping that, again, the balloon would be a big hit. I made her things. I also gave her the hippo. And we got her some like toys. Family, we asked for some clothes and some other things too. She has a lot of toys. But I got her construction vehicles. This was like a thing, and a camera. Okay, those were the things that she really like. It's like those baby cameras. Anyway, it's kind of hilarious, and she's just been taking pictures of the floor. But the whole afternoon. So like obviously we didn't take it to the park, but out of when we were in the house, And I got this for her after preschool. So she came in the door after preschool, and the first thing she sees is this balloon. It was clipped to her high chair at the table, and she just screams, "Surprise balloon!" And she was so excited, and she unclipped it, and she was like carrying it around. The whole rest of the day, this balloon was in her hand. While she was playing, while she was doing other stuff, she's just playing with this balloon. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm really glad I made you all these presents. But no, she enjoyed all the other presents. It was she was playing with like the construction truck. She was playing with her camera, all while holding the balloon, which it's so cute. It's a cute thing that she does. So I'm never gonna be mad about it because I love that she loves a balloon. So it's a very simple thing to make her very happy. That was her birthday. Today is my mom's birthday. So they're one day apart, which is fun, plus a lot of decades. But my mom lives here, and so we'll also do something for her. Theo and I'm taking today off, and so I'm doing some cleaning and stuff during her and editing during her nap. But Theo is actually has her 3-year checkup today, so we have to go to the doctor. But and she'll hang out with my mom for a little bit after that. But the afternoon, we're going to make my mom's chocolate cake. And Theo loves to bake with me. She's not typically very helpful, but my mom's chocolate cake is the one that her mom made her growing up. So we call it my grandma's chocolate cake, and it is very near and dear to her heart, but it's not a very complicated recipe. So I can prep some stuff before Theo's done her nap, and then I can bring her out and we can just get it baking and get it in the oven, and that will be it. I've done this for my mom in like several tiers before, and I think this year we might just do like 2 9-inch rounds, or really just like 1 sheet cake. My mom she's like not into fancy. I love to make a fancy cake, but this is not her thing, and so I might just go simple this year, also because Theo's helping. So then if it's a like sheet cake type thing, then I'm just like done in a Pyrex, then I can also let Theo ice it, which will be fun for her, and we'll make icing at home. So that's what we're going to do today. And then on Sunday, we are doing a birthday celebration for Theo at the house here with Mike's family and a couple of Theo's like little girl posse. She's got 3 or 4 friends that are just her age that just happen to be in our friend group. Like, these are friends. We didn't make baby friends. These are our friends who just all had girls around the same time. And since Theo was adopted, this was a surprise that we were going to join this group that of all the girls out there. But hey, really convenient timing. And so, yeah, we are excited for that. She has not decided the dessert she wants for that. Yesterday, she told me a cake, but 2 days ago, she said cookies and ice cream. So I'm going to just let it ride until like tomorrow. And that's when I actually have to make a thing. And so we'll decide then. So more baking, more treats here. Plus, it's going to be Halloween. I'm not going to put a picture up. I don't share pictures of her, but she is a cactus, and it's freaking hilarious. She has a cactus costume that literally, if she puts her arms up, she looks like a cactus. It's got a tall thing that's kind of stuffed with a little flower on top. It's got like pricklies. When she gives me, she has been wearing it around because she just has a box of costumes. And we gave it to her a little early, but when she put it on, she was like, "I'm giving you a prickly hug." I was like, "You are." It's so cute. So we're excited to have that around and for her to wear it tomorrow while we trick-or-treat. It's going to be very rainy here in Seattle, theoretically, or at least in Shoreline. So we may try to find some indoor trick-or-treating. There's like an indoor mall or 2 where you can go trick-or-treating. So it's probably pretty popular because if it's pouring that hard, it rained so hard last year too, and like nobody came to get candy besides some teenagers pretty late in the night, and I was like, just take the whole bowl. So yeah, anyway, that's all the fun. Lots of fun stuff coming up. Always lots of fun stuff this time of year for us, so that's great. I gotta go wake her up now and get ready for the day. So thank you for joining. I hope that you enjoyed our little chat today. Please comment below what you were working on if you want to share. Also, like, are your kids dressing up as something? I love kid costumes, or just if you have a party and you're doing anything. We are not doing house parties. This is just such a busy week for us. I don't know that we're going to do Halloween parties really, but like in the future, maybe. I do love a house Halloween party. I just don't like creepy decorations, so I won't buy a lot for my house. So I really just want to go to somebody else's. Anyway, But what are you going to be for Halloween? What are your kids going to be for Halloween? And or do you have any like fun Halloween traditions? We didn't carve a pumpkin this year, which normally we do, but just time ran out. I had too much busyness happening at work in the last couple of weeks, so I didn't have the energy to do it. Yeah, I want to know. I always want to know. If you also ever want to reach me on Discord or Instagram, you can do that. Also Ravelry, I'm in my inbox and I actually answer those, so let me know. As always, stretch, move your body, and I hope that you're enjoying your fiber crafts. I'll talk to you next week. Bye.